Hello. I make video tutorial melee. Too lazy to make actual edited video. Mostly because I'm afraid that Yoshi's gonna change it soon. And also, I don't have time to edit. But mostly because I think Yoshi might change everything soon. So I'm just gonna have a different formatted video of talking about melee. Now, personally, in melee, it's usually more of a mind game. And it really depends on your patience, and it really depends on your mechanics and how you move with melee. If you can't keep up with whatever the hell's going on in a fight, and you can't track down a target, which is pretty much aiming, but more delayed because you have to charge up attacks, or you only have like a small window to perform a certain action, it could be a little difficult. But pretty much it's just like aiming, except it's more bursty is one way to look at it. Another way is to kind of analyze the person you're going up against. Like for example, Mo and Krill, he literally parried within contact, but I still managed to slip it in because I did it faster than him. So being more aware of him being, you know, kind of more alert about parrying, I'd be a little bit more delayed before I actually land a light melee or a heavy melee. Like this guy right here, he did not right away parry on contact, so I have more leeway until I can get a better feel of whether or not he's going to parry or not. So to some extent, every match, every game, every player, every interaction is going to be somewhat of a limit test until you can get a feel of, okay, this player literally parried on contact. I'm going to play more patient with him. This guy did not give a fuck that I just slapped him across the face. He just thugged that shit out. I'm gonna be more loose on the melees. See, look at that. He's just not parrying. Oh, he parried. Okay, I learned his limits. Now this fucker dies. Never mind, I'm stupid. He dies though, I think, right? Or I mean, yeah, you can see the bar in the bottom. He dies here. But that's kind of like how you would kind of get an idea of when to melee, when not to melee, when someone would parry, when someone wouldn't parry. It's really easy to read opponents once you kind of look at it from two standpoints instead of kind of overcomplicating things. Rather, they will parry on contact or they won't. I don't know if I don't die here. But that's one easy way to look at it. I think once we start getting to like heavy melees and stuff like that, that's kind of its own thing. Specifically because you can choose to directly hit them with something or just look away. You can't spam that kind of compared to like light melee because heavy meleeing is like you rather decide not to because it's gonna help you out to avoid it and kind of like fade out stuff. Like see, like this guy on contact parry. Now he doesn't have. Okay, did he fight rebuttal? He didn't. Okay, how did he get that quick? What the fuck? That's also one thing, especially with like Abrams, for example. If people walk up to your tower. You can kind of like bebop hooking, you know, like bebop hooking from tower. You just hook them into the tower. You can do the same thing with Abrams. As long as they kind of come up and aren't afraid to like kind of shoot under tower or over the ramp. This guy came up. I was like, oh shit, let me try and get this guy real quick. Then I yoinked his ass. Keep in mind that usually once they get up here, if you don't land the fucking ram, you want to make sure that you're not like parry or meleeing right away. I did that same mistake for some reason. By the way, Yoshi fixed this. It did not register the parry. Here, let me look at it from Mo's perspective. It didn't render the melee for some reason, even though I was up his ass around the corner. But it's ironic because I technically yoinked him from the front or from the front of his body while I was looking back at him. Or I was looking in front of him without him having to be in my view. I still yoinked him with my ram, which is ironic because even though I'm in his face right here, as you can see, it did not deal damage. This looks like it did, but that's just the damage of the ram and the one hitting. It's not the melee that hit, so it went through him pretty much on contact for some reason. And there you go. See, he parried as soon as it ended. So if you guys can just try to be like more patient on meleeing if you don't land the ram. And even then, if you do, usually most of the time it's going to be T1. So just like light melee if you do hit the ram and do it as quick as possible. The same thing with like heavy meleeing. You have to buffer it to be able to guarantee it no matter what, unless they have like obviously reducers and stuff like that. But if they don't have reducers and it's a base ram, always technically buffer your light melee, which is just kind of spamming it. But don't spam it too hard because it will render in a second time, like a second swing, and you'll render in a second light melee, and they'll just parry you because, you know, you buffered it as well. So yeah, try not to spam it too much. Just kind of spam it with the window of the ram ending, and then just like hitting the light melee. And I know my voice cracked. If I see anyone comment about that, you will be eliminated, and I will steal all the food in your fridge. So fuck you. Thank you. But anywho though, I also like farming personally. If I don't do boxes, I think I'll fucking explode. Doing boxes good, economy good. Make sure to always spend most of, if not every second, improving your economy if there's nothing to do. If you have no waves to push, if you can't keep up pressure, do boxes, kill wave, do boxes, kill wave, do boxes, kill wave, and then any other OBJ that spawns in like 5 minutes. You know, look. This is what I mean. If you don't land the fucking if you don't land the ram, you cannot light melee, and most of the time, 99.999%, they will be hitting a parry, no matter what. So unless you're guaranteed to hit that light or that fucking ram, don't light melee. Just wait till the duration is gone, and if it hits the tower, wait a little bit longer because that resets his fucking parry, and he most likely will double tap to parry twice. So that's like, let's say, almost 4 seconds of him standing still to parry. Especially since, in case you didn't know, the parry lingers for some stupid-ass reason. Thank you, Yoshi. You know, there's a lot more at risk for the person getting parried than there is someone who loses the parry. I mean, like, sure, you can argue, you know, oh, well, I'm going to get bursted for 800 damage if we're not hitting the parry and it's in a 4-second cooldown. Well, for us, the people that get parried, usually we get a 3 times damage amp that lasts beyond being parried, by the way. Then on top of that, we have to get stunned for like, I don't know, like almost 5 fucking seconds. That's an exaggeration. I forgot the exact duration. But we get hard punished. If we get parried early by accident within the 1 minute mark, we're in a death sentence. You don't survive that. You usually 90% of the time survive that or die to that. If you miss a parry, guess what? You can just dash 3 times and you're out, no matter what. It doesn't matter if they quote unquote lock you down. You have the chance and always the option to move compared to the person that gets parried. So hopefully we get the revamp of the melee system on release, and hopefully they don't remove it thinking there is no use for it, because unironically, meleeing has a huge involvement in how the game works. You know, securing rejuve, which is really important, taking OBJs, doing OBJs like buffs and stuff like that, taking sinners, which is really good for our scalers, especially for the M1s, stuff like that. So yeah. It's also good for denial, you know, like you don't want to, you know, if you're like playing Celeste, you know, your fucking bullet velocity is way too low. You just, you know, last hit the fucking minions with your melee. So technically last hitting is still in the game. It's an easier way. You could just kind of focus more on, you know, denying their freaking souls. And melee also has a good equip usage on fucking getting camps, since you can get more of them at once with melee, instead of, you know, fucking wasting all your resources like your abilities on them. And I think it also still has that amplified damage on melee when it comes to camps. I don't remember if they took that off or not. One thing that I do need to work on, this is also going to be kind of more of a practice thing for me, is I need to keep in mind on the counters more often. I feel like sometimes I focus too much on farming the side lanes and like getting all the boxes completely, and I really don't focus on the buffs, which give us really good advantages. We literally have like, what's it called? We always have like a guarantee on buffs if you're in mid lane, which is where Abrams thrives more, by the way, compared to the side lanes. Unless you're doing like Spirit Abrams, which is more which is more like kind of farmy. Because Spirit Abrams is very like demanding on souls compared to melee, which, don't get me wrong, melee is also pretty expensive. I also did a mistake here. I don't know if I called missing in game. I'm more of a talkative person in game, unless I'm just pissed. But if I did call missing, good job me. But if I didn't, should have called missing. Also, the build that I used, I think, is Together build. I'll just put it up on the screen right now. This is the one that I currently use. This one specifically focuses on more mixed base, like Spirit melee. A little bit of gun, obviously, but The weapon damage obviously infuses with melee, so it's really easy to build gun items while like also efficiently building melee. They both apply really well. In this build, you actually get like, you know, your tier 2 relatively quickly on rams, so you can start hitting heavy melees pretty early. You always want to be that's the one thing you have to have upgraded no matter what. Now this is what I call a fucking burger boxing. Also, don't do that. Don't do what I did there. Don't fucking like heavy melee off for it. Because fucking he had parry there, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Now a lot of people, I've done a lot of comments kind of saying like, well, why are these people parrying? You know, like the parry button is not a thing for them or whatever. They have it unbinded. You know, a little meme, you know, like, you know, unbind your parry key, or they must have had parry unbinded. What rank is this? What fucking rank is this? A lot of people don't parry because they think they can ego it. There's usually roots from M1 heroes, kind of like Infernus, for example, or Wraith, or fucking Drifter, or anybody for that matter that can M1 consistently. Like Haze as well, you know. Even just in general, some people like to ego melee just because they think they can outburst it, but then they realize too late and they parry at the very end of their life. Which brings me to another thing about melee. It's something that's in everyone's veins, no matter how much they hate it. Specifically because there's like this little theory that I like to think of, where if one person is low health, the guy will melee them, light melee them to kill them, or the person that is one tap will parry to save his life no matter what, in case as a last stand type of thing. Like I said, like I said, if you're low, you will parry at the end of your life. If they're low, you will light melee them to finish them off. Now this applies to melee, you know, after you've already burst them for all their health bar and they just kind of are one tap, you don't want to just like kind of end them off with a light melee or heavy melee, because then they will remember they have the F key to parry people. So usually you'd want to just, you know, use whatever abilities you have left or just shoot them to death, because that will get you the easiest parry bait of your life. Oh yeah, when it comes to this little, okay, so here's a little Abram tech. From this area, you can get to, oh wait, you can get to like there. Actually, let me just go over there. If you ult from here a little bit higher, you can reach, especially if you go a little forward with the ult after hitting on bridge, you can land like right here, and hit someone from pretty much cross map. And get a really easy like fucking gank in lane, especially like let's say if you stomp mid lane, you can get your ult really early, and then by 5 minutes for buff, you can easily just ult into the next lane and catch whoever off guard. One thing that a lot of people aren't utilizing, I feel like, with Abrams is his ultimate. His ultimate is a very easy soft dynamo ult. To explain further, if once you progress longer into the game, and you buy, like, let's say, let's see right there, it happened again. I didn't land the ram and he ended up parrying. But with the ultimate, if you end up getting duration extender, which usually is a really good item, or superior duration, whatever you'd want to call it, the tier 2 or tier 3 that costs 3200 for duration. If you end up getting that, especially with ult active, and you hit like 3 people, that's usually free 3 kills. Especially when your team is involved. So hitting that ultimate is really important. Don't just use it to move around, you know, like kind of like Shiv ultimate, you know, that shit's been reduced to just fucking running away. So one thing about feinting on Abrams melee charge is if you do it too much, you're kind of getting rid of the ability to actually fight them. If you take too long trying to bait them too many times, you are going to die a lot. Try and start engaging more with light melees. If you light melee a lot more, you will have a lot more active parriers, which will lead you to kind of do some mix up on light melee, you know, not just constantly spamming it. If you spam it too much, it's going to be extremely readable. So the whole point of meleeing is to read your opponent better than them reading you. So if they see that you're feinting too much, they're just going to completely ignore the parry and just consistently just gun you down, especially if it's an M1. You're weak against M1s compared to like spirit heroes. Though most spirit heroes nowadays are usually mobility focused, and so you can't really fucking hit them. ever because they're rather in the sky, have 9 stamina, or they already fucking killed you from how much burst they can produce. Like, for example, in this match, they have Apollo, Pocket, Lash. Flying heroes are the most insufferable people to go up against when doing melee, because you're a grounded hero. Sure, you can do jumps and shit and fucking jiggle some balls or whatever, but essentially you are a ground character. Oh yeah, this build also has, what's it called? Mystic Shot, specifically because it's also including Spirit. As you can see, it also has Snatch. You're probably also wondering, why the hell in the belly does it not have Life Strike? Life Strike has been nerfed way too much to even be considered in this build, especially when there's more efficient ways, and Abrams also just, you know, benefits off of this one healing him a little bit more than Spirit Life Strike. I mean, I could probably look at the stats real quick after this match and kind of get back to that, but personally, I think the one being upgraded with Spirit Power is enough to sustain him compared to just one thing that is a burst, especially when it gets very fucking nerfed with Heal Vein. And considering how every game is now, especially with counters, usually someone has Heal Vein. So it doesn't make Life Strike worth it. I mean, sure, it could produce more damage, but it's just not worth it. I'd rather steal someone's Spirit Power or Spirit fucking Resistance with Snatch, and also be able to deal more Spirit damage to heal more off of them. Now, the nice thing about melee is that it's extremely flexible. Specifically because you can build weapon damage and keep your melee damage and only scale it. And you can also just deal damage with your gun and also have space to improve on Spirit, which is what I'm doing here. Now, one thing that I also want you guys to keep in mind is that in this build is going to have Hunter's Aura, and it also focuses on shreds a lot. And this is kind of where the damage source comes from, and everything just complements each other on this build. Stalker takes away bullet resist from them, especially when it's so easy to just kind of get like melee resist and it combines into bullet resist. Shredders are pretty much needed on melee at all times. Having things like bullet like Stalker give away -6 bullet resist, it gives you move speed, and it also does spirit damage. And it also gives you bonus health, and it also makes you more quieter so you can sneak up on people easier. Bullet Shredder is a purple, which can be built in with Spirit Snatch to hit your 4.8k, so still keep melee focus while also, you know, buffing your spirit, which you need more spirit power to do more bullet resist Shredder. Well, not obviously like using abilities and stuff like that, not the raw damage, but this also offers -10 bullet resist, and this also just takes away spirit resist from the enemy and gives it to you, so you don't really have to build like spirit resistance early on that fast, especially when it's so expensive. What's it called? And then you also are going to get Hunter's Aura at some point. I think I also get it. So that's even more like, you know, shred and more damage. And on top of that, since Hunter's Aura got buffed a while ago, it also takes away, what's it called? It also takes away fire rate from the enemy that's applied with the Hunter's Aura. So it's really good against, you know, countering gun builds or gun heroes, since usually for melee heroes or melee characters, which is just Abrams' ability, your weakness is always going to be gun characters because they can keep their distance and still dish out damage towards you, especially when you're trying to get close to them. They just slow you down and gun you down, and you die if you force the fight. So finding ways to get close to them and have them deal less damage to you is always a positive. That's why Hunter's Aura is usually used a lot with melee. Oh, and just more bullet resist with Battle Vest. It's a really good item no matter what. And some people also say, you know, why buy monster rounds when you can get close quarters? Close quarters is good damage, like it says here. But I prefer monster rounds because I can start, you know, ganking under tower or walker a little bit more compared to just having close quarters, which, I mean, sure, it gives you weapon damage and melee resist, but I don't think I'd buy this unless it's like a Billy or something and I combine it with like rebuttal or something just so he doesn't have a chance at playing the game. Oh yeah, and Mystic Shot is also just really good for burst. The one thing that a lot of people do with like Pocket, for example, is usually they just build more burst. I don't know if they build Mystic Shot, but as you can see, like, you know, their entire kit is burst, and then you just have more burst with Cold Front. And at some point, I'm sure they're going to get, like, let's say, fucking Tank Buster or something for that extra more burst. And then if he gets Mystic Shot, that's even more burst. Another good example is Lash. You know, he has Hunter's Aura. Yeah. And another good example is, like, you know, Lash, for example, he has Headhunter, Mystic Shot, he has Ground Strike, and he has Flog, and he has Death Slam. So it's just, oh, and he has Mystic Burst. So it's just like, it's just kind of like these heroes, but more tanky. So just building more burst and having more burst options will allow you to deal more damage in very small amounts of time. And that's kind of what makes Abrams currently scary. I feel like the only weakness to the build that I'm using is that I don't get my green spike until later in the game, which is like around 15 minutes or over 15 minutes, close to 20 minutes. But when like, you know, you still have sustain on the build. The whole point is to kind of be more of a scary frontliner that pops out of nowhere and bursts someone. Abrams is a really good team fighting hero, so if you get a ram for somebody, not only do you get to pretty much kill them or pretty much lower them to less than half, you'll have a teammate to actually finish them off, or you just kill them with your teammate with the power of friendship, because, you know, that's usually how you want to play a MOBA, you know, team-based and stuff. Yikes, I don't know how the fuck I missed that. Yeah, so as you can see, that it's dealing really good damage. Holy shit, I don't remember it dealing that much good damage. So like for this one, for example, right? This motherfucker goes into his cube. I let melee him to see if I can fade out a parry, but it doesn't work. And then I just he had shield on, by the way. He had spirit shielding and it disappeared. Probably because I'm 6k up. And he tried running away. But see, like, okay, so one thing about people not parrying is the overwhelming amount of data being applied to your small little tiny raisin brain, okay? Not a lot of people can react to 30 things at once, especially when it's different patterns, directions, and fucking, like, inputs. This motherfucker, what happened to him during this? Hold on, wait, let's scoot back a little bit. So he's getting hit by fucking, like... He's trying to avoid getting killed, you know, he's getting sucked off by Guy Stem, and she's also trying to shoot him to sustain herself and get more cards. And then he sees some big blue fucker in drip style is like trying to punch him in the face. Like, oh shit, he needs to react to that. And he doesn't. He just fucking, he's late. And let's not always underestimate the power of ping, because ping is a bitch. And then Bluetooth melee exists as well and stuff. And yeah, and like, I'm tired, but I'm trying to explain as good as I can. But pretty much a lot of people don't parry for multiple reasons. And it's not my fault that people in high Eternus also don't parry. So please go easy on me, man. Blame the people that suck, not me. Thank you. Not that they suck. A lot of people are really good in Eternus, but they just have bad games. I did hear about this 30-30 rule thing about MOBAs. I just don't know the full explanation, or actually any explanation for that matter.
Mid-boss has arrived.
What the fuck you do that for? Look, see, look. If you got movement, this fucking huge refrigerator can move like Mina, bro. I'm telling you. And he got fucked in the ass. Fucking dumb thick Daryl. So, Eternus 4, high level rank, epic gameplay, top 1 billion, jillion, brilliant, krillion. This is Ido on his alt account. This is Deathy on his alt account. This is... Damn, she committed me right away. What the fuck is she? Is she stalking me? Thank you, Ido. Thank you. And then this is Low Main on his alt account. This is just High True. And this is Left on his alt account. Yep. High level gameplay with the top gamers of Deadlock or something. Stuff like that. Okay, I'm gonna be real. The build I was literally using in that fucking game got deleted because Together is a meanie head. But I still recommend it. Sneaky Fist, a Big Puncher. And iPhone's Gorillas. Gorilla Abrams. Abrams Gorilla. If you have any questions, I will answer them as best I can. If not, too bad.